Sairam students, hope you all are fine today. Let us continue with history. Lesson number 2, from hunting gathering to growing food. In our previous class, we had learnt about the earliest people and why were they on the move. That is about hunter-gatherers, and the name comes from the way in which they got their food and different reasons why they moved from place to place. And how do we know about these people? Through the archaeologists, evidences, and the stone tools that they used. And what place did they choose to live? They chose the places that were near the sources of water, like rivers and lakes. And one of the biggest discoveries made by man was fire. So, how did they use fire? And around 12,000 years ago, the climate of the world started changing, and this led to the development of grasslands, which in turn led to the increasing number of deer, antelope, goat, etc. Then people started thinking of rearing these animals themselves, and fishing also became important. So, this was the beginning of farming and herding, and the first animal to be tamed was the wild ancestor of the dog. And today we will be learning more about domestication, a new way of life, storing animals, finding out about the first farmers and herders towards a settled life, a closer look, that is living and dying in Mehergarh and elsewhere, that is the cave paintings in France and a Neolithic site in Turkey. Domestication. What is domestication? Domestication is the process in which people grow plants and look after animals. We know people take care of some animals and they also grow some plants, isn't it? So very often plants and animals that are tended by people, they become different from wild plants and wild animals. Why is it so? This is because people, they select the plants and animals for domestication. For example, they select those plants and animals that are not prone to disease. And what kind of plants did they select? They selected the plants that could yield large size grain and have strong stalks capable of bearing the weight of the ripe grain. You can see in the images, children. And the seeds from the selected plants that could be preserved and sown to ensure that the new plants and the seeds that will grow will have the same qualities. And the earliest domesticated plants were wheat and barley. Do you know, children? Domestication was a gradual process that took place in many parts of the world, and it began about 12,000 years ago. Virtually all the plant and animal produce that we are using today, it is the result of domestication. Now look at these two sets of teeth. Which do you think belongs to a wild pig and which to a domesticated one? Yes, the teeth that you can see on the right side belongs to a wild pig, and the teeth to the left side belongs to the domesticated one. Now let us learn the new topic, a new way of life. Let us take one example. If you plant a seed, you will notice that it will take some time to grow. That is, you have to first sow the seed, then water it, remove the weeds, and you have to take care of the plants. So, this may take several days, weeks, months, and in some cases, some years also. So, when people began growing plants, it meant that they had to stay in the same place for a long time, looking after the plants, watering, weeding, driving away animals and birds till the grain ripened. And then, when the grain was ready, they had to use that grain carefully, as grain had to be stored for both food and seed, that is, for consumption and for sowing. So, people had to think of ways of storing it. So, in many areas, they began making large clay pots or wove baskets or dug pits into the ground to store the grains. And the ways in which they used the grain was, they used it as seed, as food, and they also gave the grains as gifts and also stored it for food. Storing animals. What do you mean by storing animals? We know that the domesticated animals, they provide us with milk, and we also get food, that is meat, from them. So animals, they multiply naturally, and besides, if they are looked after carefully, they provide us with milk, which is an important source of food and meat whenever required. In other words, the animals that are reared can be used as a store of food. Apart from food, what are the other things that could have been obtained from the animals? What are animals used for today? Yes, we get wool to make the woolen clothes, and we also get leather from the animal skin. So different things are made out of the leather. So children, just jot down the things that are obtained from the animals. Now let us find out about the first farmers and herders. Children, if you notice a number of blue squares, each marks a site from where archaeologists have found evidence of early farmers and herders. These are found all over the subcontinent. Some of the most important ones are in the northwest, in present-day Kashmir, and in East, and in South India. Now, to find out whether these sites were settlements of farmers or of herders, what did the scientists do? The scientists, they studied the evidence of the plants and animal bones. And one of the most exciting finds, it includes the remains of the burnt grain. Now, these grains may have been burnt accidentally or on purpose. So, scientists, they can identify these grains, and so we know that a number of crops were grown in different parts of the subcontinent. And they can also identify the bones of the different animals. In this way, they could identify and understand about the first farmers and herders. Now let us learn the next topic, towards a settled life. How do we know that they lived a settled life? Archaeologists, they have found the traces of huts or houses at some sites. For instance, in Burzahom, that is in present-day Kashmir, people, they built pit houses. Now what are the pit houses? They are the houses which were dug into the ground with steps leading into them. Now these may have provided shelter to them in cold weather. Archaeologists have also found cooking hearths. Children, you can see here in the images, both inside and outside the huts. which suggests that depending on the weather, people could cook food either indoors or outdoors. And stone tools have been found from many sites as well. Many of these are different from the earlier Paleolithic tools. You can see the different shapes of the stones, and that is why they are called Neolithic. And what else did these include? These included tools that were polished to give a fine cutting edge, and mortars and pestles were used for grinding the grains and also for other plant produce. Mortars and pestles are used for grinding grain even today. Here you can see the image, children. Even after several thousand years later, we are using it for grinding the grain. And the Paleolithic tools are also still continued to be in use, and some were made of the bones. And many kinds of earthen pots have also been found. These were sometimes decorated and were used for storing the things. We know that they used to store the grains, and people began using pots for cooking food also, especially grains like rice, wheat and lentils that now became an important part of the diet. Beside these, they also began weaving cloth using different kinds of materials. For example, cotton also could now be grown, so they could make different clothes out of cotton. Do you think, children, the things changed everywhere all at once? No. In many areas, men and women, they still continued to hunt and gather food. And elsewhere, people adopted farming and herding slowly over several thousand years. Besides this, in many cases, people also tried to combine these activities, that is, doing different things during different seasons. So, with the help of the traces that were found of huts, houses, cooking hearths, mortar and pestles that were used for grinding grain, and even we use it today, and the earthen pots, weaving cloth, farming, and the different activities that they did during different seasons. So all these things tell us that they also started living a settled life. Now let us have a closer look, that is living and dying in Mehergarh. Now if you find Mehergarh in the map, this is the site located in a fertile plain near the Bolan Pass, which is one of the most important routes into Iran. And Mehergarh was probably one of the places where people had learned to grow barley and wheat, and also to rear the sheep and goats for the first time in this area. So, it is one of the earliest villages that we know about, and archaeologists who excavated the site found evidence of many kinds of animal bones. Here you can see in the image, children, bones of wild animals such as the deer and pig, and also bones of sheep and goat were found. What other things were found at Mehergarh? Other finds at Mehergarh include remains of square or rectangular houses. Here you can see the image. So each house had 4 or more compartments, and some of which may have been also used for storage. When people die, what do their relatives and friends generally do? When people die, the relatives and friends generally pay respect to them. They have some beliefs, so people look after them, perhaps in the belief that there is some form of life after death, and so they make some arrangement. So what is that arrangement? Burial is one such arrangement, and several burial sites have been found at Mehergarh. So one instance is given here. The dead person was buried with goats. Why did they do so? This was probably meant to serve as food in the next world, because they have some beliefs that the dead person is also having some kind of life after death. So they used to bury the goats along with the dead person. Now let us see elsewhere the cave paintings that were found in France. So this site was discovered by 4 school children more than 100 years ago. Paintings like this, they were made between 20,000 and 10,000 years ago. Many of these were of animals such as wild horses, aurochs. What are aurochs? They are an older wild form of cattle. And bison, woolly rhinoceros, reindeer and bear. All these were painted in bright colors. And these colors, they were made from minerals like ochre or iron ore and also charcoal. And it is possible that these paintings, they were done on occasions, that is on ceremonial occasions, or perhaps they were made for special rituals performed by the hunters before they went in search of prey. And let us see about a Neolithic site which was found in Turkey. So one of the most famous Neolithic sites, Katal Huyuk, it was found in Turkey, and several things were brought from great distances. That is, to make the settlement, many things were used. That is, flint was brought from Syria, cowries were brought from the Red Sea, and shells from the Mediterranean Sea. So all these things, they were used for making the settlement. And remember children that there were no carts. So most of these things would have been carried on the backs of the pack animals such as cattle or by the people. Now let us recap what we have learned in this lesson. We learned about domestication. That is, domestication is the process in which the man grows the plants and takes care of the animals. And most of these plants and animals that are tended by man, they become different from the wild plants and animals. And people often select the animals and plants to be domesticated by them. And this process of domestication, it began some 12,000 years ago. Virtually all the plant and animal produces which we eat today are the result of domestication. We also learnt about a new way of life. That is, first they were the hunter-gatherers and later they started living a new life. Why did it happen? Because they had started growing crops. And here one example is given that if you plant a seed, it will take some time to grow. So this meant that these people, they also had to stay in the same place for a long time to look after the plants. That is, for watering, weeding, driving away animals and birds till the grain ripened. And they also had to take care of the grain. and they used this grain in different ways, as seed, as food, as gifts, and they also stored these grains for food to be used in future. And as grain had to be stored for both food and seed, so the people, they had to think the different ways of storing it, and they began making large clay pots or wove baskets or dug pits into the ground. And we also learnt about storing animals, that is, animals that are reared can be used as a store of food because they provide us with milk, meat, which is used as a food. We also learnt about finding out about the first farmers and the herders. That is, the archaeologists, they have found the evidence of early farmers and herders. These are found all over the subcontinent. Some of the most important ones are in the northwest, in present-day Kashmir, and in East and South India. To prove that these settlements belong to farmers and herders, scientists study the evidences of plants and animal bones. Scientists have found burnt grain at these sites. These grains could have been burnt accidentally or purposely. Based on these finds, scientists tell us that a number of crops, plants, and animals existed in different parts of the subcontinent. Then we also learnt about towards a settled life. That is, archaeologists, they found traces of huts or houses at some sites. That is, in Burzahom, which is in Kashmir, the people built pit houses which were dug into the ground with steps leading into them. Then we also saw that the archaeologists, they found about the cooking hearths, mortar and pestles for grinding grain, the earthen pots that were sometimes decorated and were used for storing things. People also began using pots for cooking food, especially grains like rice, wheat, and lentils that now became an important part of the diet. Then they also began weaving cloth using different kinds of materials, for example, cotton. And in many areas, men and women, they still continued to hunt and gather food. And elsewhere, people adopted farming and herding slowly over several thousand years, and they tried to combine these activities, in some cases doing different things during different seasons. Then we also learnt about a closer look, that is living and dying in Mehergarh. So Mehergarh site, it is located in a fertile plain near the Bolan Pass, which is one of the most important routes into Iran. And Mehergarh was probably one of the places where people learned to grow barley and wheat and rear sheep and goats for the first time in this area. And we also saw that the remains of square or rectangular houses were found at Mehergarh, and each house had 4 or more compartments, some of which may have been used for storage. And when people died, they had the belief that there is life after death. And burial is one such arrangement. That is, several burial sites have been found at Mehergarh, and in one instance, the dead person was buried with goats, which were probably meant to serve as food in the next world. Then we also learnt about the cave paintings in France and a Neolithic site in Turkey. I hope you have understood the lesson very well. Today I am going to tell you about the project that you are going to do during the summer vacation. It is going to be very interesting. So this will be your social science project. And you will be doing a PowerPoint presentation. Yes, a PowerPoint presentation. So children, you can start with the slides that I am going to show you. You can have the first slide as the project. The second slide you can make of standard, that is 6th standard social science project. Then your third slide will have your name, your roll number you can write of the previous class. Then your standard, that is 6th standard. Division, you can write the previous year's division. And the school's name, that is Shrima Vidyalaya. Then on the next slide you are going to write the topic. So what is your topic? The topic is museums in Mumbai. Children, there are various museums in Mumbai. Now I'll be showing you some of the names of the museums. So you just have to choose and you have to make the presentation on any 3 of the given topics. Now you will have to write the index. So in index you will be writing the various museums in Mumbai, and any 3 museums you will be writing the names on it. So the topics are Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj Vastu Sangralaya, Dr. Bhavdaji Lad Museum, Mani Bhavan Gandhi Sangralaya, that is in Mumbai, Nehru Science Center, RBI Monetary Museum, CSMT Heritage Museum, Western Railway Heritage Gallery, or BEST Bus Museum. So these are the topics of the museums that I have given you. These are 8. You have to choose any 3 and you have to make the presentation for only 3 museums that are in Mumbai. Now, what are the steps to be followed? Step 1, you have to collect images from Google. Then, see, I have just taken out one image. You have to just pick up one good image and you are going to put it in the slide. Then, you have to arrange the images in Google Slides or PowerPoint. If you don't have Google Slides, you have to download it from the Play Store, or else you can make the Microsoft PowerPoint presentation. Then you are going to collect information on it. Children, you can show the information about what, where, how and when. Do you remember the first chapter that we have learned in history? So you are going to make this project according to that. So you can tell what is the museum called, where it is located in Mumbai, how it helps us to know about the past, when it was started, what artifacts and things are shown, etc. So you have to give the correct information about the images that you are going to show about the museums. You can make this presentation in your Android mobile phones or in your computers or laptops. Then step 4, you are going to make a presentation of 8 to 10 minutes using effects and animations. Children, on your computer you can find, whenever you are doing a PowerPoint presentation, you can find up transition, animations. So you can use those, and the effects, the background color, everything you can show and make this presentation very nice and colorful. Then you are going to save it in your pen drive, and submit it when the school reopens. You are also going to mention the bibliography. That means you have taken the images from which site. So you are going to mention the website, the reference. You can use the Wikipedia. So whatever you are using, you are going to mention it in bibliography. So children, let me repeat what I have told you already about the PowerPoint presentation. The first slide, you are going to have project. Second slide, you will write Standard 6th Social Science project. The third slide, you will be writing your name, the roll number, standard division and your school's name. Then you will write the topic. The topic is museums in Mumbai. So you will be writing the index. In index you will write the various museums in Mumbai, and then you can write A and any one topic, B another topic, C the third topic. Because you have to write only 3 topics. You have to choose out of those 8 topics and you have to write only 3 topics. Then what are your 3 topics you have to choose from? So you can have the slides on Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj Vastu Sangralaya, Dr. Baudaji Lad Museum, Mani Bhavan Gandhi Sangralaya, that is in Mumbai, or Nehru Science Center. You can also choose from RBI Monetary Museum, CSMT Heritage Museum, Western Railway Heritage Gallery, or BEST Bus Museum. Then children, the steps that you are going to follow: first you have to collect the images from Google. So each museum you have to collect many images, and you also have to collect information on all those images. This is an example that I had shown you. Now suppose this picture you are showing, this image you are showing. So you have to tell the information. You have to write it in another slide, or else you can show half the slide with the image and half the slide you can write the information about that image. Then you have to arrange the images in Google Slides or PowerPoint. If you don't have Google Slides, you have to download it from the Play Store. So when you have collected the images, you have to collect the information also. Then you can make a presentation of 8 to 10 minutes using effects and animations. Then save it in your pen drive and submit it when your school reopens. You also have to write the reference from where you have taken the images and how you have collected the information. Everything you have to mention it in bibliography. I hope children you have understood what your project is about. So children, enjoy your vacations, but stay home and stay safe. Thank you.